everything moves on. And from our little planet here, looking out into the skies around us, the sun appears to have moved on. And now it's gone on into gateway number 38. And this is right at the top of the wheel here. We're going off round to the left side of the top of the wheel. And we're in this season of Yule, the season of festivities, the season of joy. The bottom trigram, solid, broken for Tui. And really the season of celebration, if we can find our way to do that. And of course, we're coming up on the new year. And this is, of course, according to the Roman calendar. And in the Roman calendar, the month of January is named after this fellow called Janus. And Janus was a god with two faces, one looking forward and one looking backward. And so basically January the 1st was a day in which all accounts for the year were rendered. All the rents were paid, all the bills were caught up, and everything was settled. And so Janus looks back and see, okay, what's owed up until now, and then looks forward to see what are we going to do coming up in the future. And all of this takes place as the sun has gone into gateway number 38. And the gateway 38 is called opposition. Opposition in the individual circuitry. And so we're opening up a whole new story here. We're just seeing what are we going to do with the time ahead. The conscious earth is in the gateway number 39, which is a gateway of provocation, both of these in individual circuitry. And so really it's a fresh start. It's recounting for ourselves our individual stance in life. And it takes place in this life theme we call tension. Tension. So when you consider the word tension, it might seem like anyone with this particular life theme are always very tense. And it can be. They can get really wound up in life if they're not very careful about it. Why do we need tension in life? And why, particularly at the beginning of a new year, at least in the Western Roman calendar, we need to pull things together. And that's pretty much what this life theme does. It helps order things. It helps orchestrate things to find a better balance. On the unconscious side, the sun is in the 48, the gateway of the well, the water source, the source of everything that's important for life. And we can see the well has everything to do with freshness, keeping things interesting, keeping things up to date in the logic circuitry. And also it has a lot to do with depth. How deep are we prepared to go into life? Are we just going to stay on a surface life, or are we going to plumb the depths of what it is that's going on around us here? And the unconscious earth in the 21, the gateway of the hunter, the huntress, the gateway of control in the little willpower center. And so I always remark about the 21, there's two ways to go hunting. One, you put on your running shoes and go chasing after something. The other, you place yourself where things can come to you naturally. And so this life theme of tension, it's almost like when you consider a musical instrument, a stringed instrument, for example, there's no point in trying to play it if the strings are not in the right tension. The frequency is going to be all off. And so this is what this particular life theme does. The 38 and the 39, both in individual circuitry, opposition and provocation, are basically recognizing within whatever it is that goes on in the world around us, are people being authentic? Are they being true to their nature? Or are they living behind a facade? Are they doing something that's really off balance, not in frequency? And people with this particular life, they could spot that right away and call people on it. Hey, what you're doing just doesn't fit with what I relate to going on. Let's tighten things up a little bit. Let's get things back in tune. I refuse to move any further until my standards are met. And so there can be quite a bit of controversy for people with this particular life theme, that certain people, certain situations, just not a match. It's not going to work for me. These people refuse to live an authentic life. They don't meet my standards and things. And therefore, I'm not going to play with them. I'm not going to interact with them. I'm going to leave them out. And so woe betide you, if you get challenged by someone with this life theme of tension, they're basically saying, look, there's something about you just doesn't figure. It's not right. So the sun goes on, of course, goes on into the fourth line. And for 3 hours or just under 3 hours, we have this life theme of opposition. Sun in the 38, Earth in the 39, and now On the unconscious side, we've got the unconscious sun gone into the 57 and the unconscious earth into the 51. So when you consider what goes on in the human design chart, 38, 39, both in the individual circuitry, and now we're looking at 57 in the spleen center, this gateway we attune to the gentle, the intuitive abilities, and the 51 in the willpower center, the gateway of shock and the arousing, 4 individual gates. So here we are. Opposition is a very powerful 4-1 life theme, fixed life theme. And you consider what is the opposition all about? What's the provocation all about? What's going on here? And when I think about this, it's possible to be opposed to just about anything. And I always say to people with a 38, look, for goodness sake, pick your fights. You can't fight with everything. There's so many things in the world that are just not plainly fair. But what I see with this particular life theme is they have an allergy. And the allergy is an allergy to stupidity. And very likely people with this life theme are going to call you on your stupidity if you're not being appropriate, if you're not living up to individual standards, if you're just going along with everybody else's ways of doing things, because all 4 gateways here are individual. And it literally stands as a fixed fate to guide individuality, to oppose things that are unfair, plain BS, and plainly stupid. So if you get called by somebody with this particular life theme, don't sweat it, but do recognize what they're trying to illustrate for you. And then we go into the interpersonal life theme of individualism. So for two days out of the year, the sun goes through the last 5th and 6th lines of the 38. And in July, around the 4th of July, the same thing happens with the sun in the 39, but we get the same interpersonal life theme of individualism. And of course, this is where the foundation of the Declaration of the Independence of the United States took place. So let's just say, America, we know, stands for the individual, and the individual has to stand for themselves. And that's the whole point of this particular life theme. This happens early in January. We've gone through tension, we've gone through opposition to BS, and now we're in this interpersonal life theme of individualism. What does it mean to stand as an individual? And again, there's bound to be a certain concern about stupidity here, rules that are not appropriate, rules that are not fair, rules that just are wasteful. It's nothing to do with the logical collective circuitry at all. It's pure individual channels here and gateways. So sun in the 38 5th and 6th lines, earth in the 39 5th and 6th lines, and then we got the unconscious sun in the 57, this gateway of awareness in the spleen center, this instant recognition of things, and the 51 in the willpower center, this gateway of shock and realization and the awakening. So individualism, what can you say about it? It's you have to stand for yourself. And this is just a reminder for all of us. We come into this world as a unique consciousness in human form. It's up to us to work out what it is we're doing here, what it is that's really important for us. But the key to it all is living as an empowered individual. And that's what the backdrop of this life theme of individual is all about, is standing up for yourself, standing up for what you perceive as truthful in your own way, right? Truth is universal. Truth is a very personal attunement. All 4 gateways in here, individual, all about empowerment, all on a very simple level, acoustic in nature. What's to be heard here? Where's the transformation in what it is that you get to hear? So whenever you're attuning to the 38th gateway in this interpersonal life theme of individualism, listen to what it is that's going on. Watching things is one thing, because that's very much the collective way. But the sound quality of the environment around you, that's what shapes everything. Very, very powerful life theme here. So the personal life theme of tension, people with this particular life theme, J.R.R. Tolkien, thank you, sir, so much for your Hobbit and Lord of the Rings books. Stephen Stills, this magical guitar player, really, truly gifted musician. Michael Schumacher, the really great Formula One race driver. And in the interpersonal life theme of individualism, you'll probably recognize right away Alan Watts, such an extraordinary individual. Julia Ormond, this rather underrated but brilliant actress. And also Diane Cannon, this really fiery actress that played so many great parts in movies. All of these life themes, 192 life themes to be found in this, the Book of Destinies. Your story's in there. Everyone you know's story's in there. It's basically a 21st century review of what it is to be human here. And all of this book, part of the Human Design Trilogy, available to everyone, along with your free Human Design report from evolutionaryhumandesign.com. That's the QR code on the left, and the book trilogy QR code is on the right. So there we are. Gateway number 38, opposition.